Well, it seems pretty heavy out there right now, and it seems that people really need some kind of... What are you doing? Message right now. So Clyde and I have decided to do a new I Ching reading for everyone. One that I think is a message that everyone needs to hear, coming up right after this. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Clyde Monster, and this is my show. Yeah, I see that. Where did the new theme come from? I made it when you weren't looking. Lightning? Hey, you can't tame a force of nature. All right, do you want to get started? We threw an I Ching reading for everyone before we came on camera. The first hexagram is preponderance of the small. Where did we say we were starting? Right there. Are you trying to limit my time on camera by giving me smaller sections to read? No, we said that was a better... Can you just read it? Haven't been on for weeks. Completely ignore me while you're doing astrology, and then you give me small What are you doing? Can you just read? Exceptional modesty and conscientiousness. Conscientiousness are sure to be rewarded with success. However, if a man is not to throw himself away, it is important that they should not become empty form and subservience. Subservience burns, but be combined always with a correct dignity in personal behavior. There's a lot of that going on right now, isn't there? Hey, well, I guess I can't disagree. We must understand the deficiencies and damages. In any event, we must not count on great success, since the requisite strength is lacking. In this lies the importance of the message that one should not strive after lofty things, but hold to lowly things. Lowly things. Do you know what that means? Times are tough, Toof. Toof? Toof? You mean toots? Times are tough, toots. Don't aim high at the moment, 'cause things are blocked. That's pretty good. Was that it? Is that all I get? No, there's 3 changing lines. Right here. Changing line. Changing line. 6 at the beginning means a bird ought to remain in the nest until it is fledged. If it tries to fly before this, it invites misfortune. Extraordinary measures should be reported. That's resorted. Who's reading this, you or I? What do you keep doing back there? I'm fixing your... Never mind. Now I lost my space. Where was I? A bird ought to remain in the nest until it is fledged. If it tries to fly before this, it invites misfortune. Extraordinary measures should be resorted to only when all else fails. At first, we ought to put up with traditional ways as long as possible. Otherwise, we exhaust ourselves and our energy and still achieve nothing. You know what traditional ways mean? It means there's some stuff people aren't trying right now. There's stuff that's been outlined in the I Ching and the old ways that people are not doing right now. And it has to do with self-development and learning how to go within to change their own behaviors. We got the second one too. It's the second changing line. Changing line. 6 in the second place means she passes by her ancestor and meets her ancestress. Let me turn the page. He does not reach his prince and meets the official. No blame. Did you purposely get me one that made no sense? Could you... Here, look. No, look down here. Stop poking me. Well, you're wrinkling in the back. I have fur. It's what we monsters do. Here. Right here. It says, the grandson stands on the same side as the grandfather, hence his closest relations are with the grandfather. The present line designates the grandson's wife, who during the sacrifice passes by an ancestor and goes toward the ancestress. Their unusual behavior, just hang on, is, however, an expression of her modesty. She ventures rather to approach the ancestors, for she feels related to her by her common sex. Hence, here, deviation from the rule is not a mistake. What the heck does that mean? All right, you read the next section. It will explain it further. Another image is that of the official who, in compliance with regulation, first seeks an audience with his prince. If he is not successful in this, he does not try to force anything, but goes about conscientious fulfillment of his duty, taking his place. What is this? All right. What it means is, the overall hexagram means that this is not a time for great accomplishment. Small things must be done. And in this part here, in the second changing line where it says, she passes by her ancestors and meets her ancestors, and then there's stuff about the extraordinary restraint is likewise not a mistake in exceptional times. That's really the point of this. You mean we couldn't have just said that? Extraordinary restraint is likewise not a mistake in exceptional times? We had to go through that jazz about the woman and her ancestor, and well, I wanted you to say that because this is something that's going on astrologically that's really important that people need to know. That right now, in what is changing in the world, has to do with the ancestors box in every single person on the planet and their miwa right now, which is you know what that is, we talked about it. A miwa is a magic square. Well, one of the boxes in the magic square is the ancestors box, and for everyone on the planet right now, the ancestors box is changing. It means that stuff that our ancestors did is forcing us to change right now, and we are all meeting what our ancestors did, and we are meeting what they left for us and what we have left undone and unchanged. And it's going to continue to cause a great deal of change. And because of what's coming out of all of that, and it includes our own behaviors as well, what's coming out of all of that is causing and forcing all of us to change. And because the conditions are so extraordinary that there is not a way to make large, grand adjustments at the time, only small things. Now there's another changing line. Do you want to read that? Yes, please. All right, it's 1, 2, 3. It's the fifth changing line, so that would be right here. Before I read this, give me a second to see if... Okay, just read it. Dense clouds, no rain from the Western Territory. The prince shoots his... An image of a flying bird has become that of a flying clouds, but dense clouds are they race the sky and no rain. Exceptional times, there may be born a ruler who is qualified to set the world in order, but who cannot achieve anything or confer blessings on the people because he stands alone and has no help. Ooh. What that means, do you want me to read that aloud? I can do it. In exceptional times, there may be a born ruler who is qualified to set the world in order, but who cannot achieve anything or confer blessings on people because he stands alone and has no helpers. You know he's going to explain it. Okay, mister. It means that there may be individuals who really can make a change, but at this time, because everyone is dazzled by what's going on, with all the changes, all the chaos, and all the stuff that people are like indulging in and being stuck on, that those who may be really qualified to make a change may not even be seen because they stand alone and no one wants to help them, which means that people are clinging to the very things that are continuing to create the problems and only allowing for small, tiny successes and not big successes, because in the old I Ching and in the old texts like this, it meant that the only one who was really qualified to lead was an enlightened king who stood as the place between heaven and earth. Now, this is changing into what? Where's the paper? It's right here. 28. That's the outcome. All right, you got Cheetos all over the book again. All right, come here. I put a bookmark in it. Here. There you go. Okay. You see, 28 is... So we're changing from the preponderance of the small to what? The preponderance of the great. Okay, I marked that section for you. When a man wishes to undertake an enterprise in extraordinary times, he must be extraordinarily cautious, just as when setting a heavy thing down on the floor. One takes care to put rushes under it so that nothing will break. This caution, though it may seem exaggerated, is not a mistake. Exceptional enterprises cannot succeed unless utmost caution is observed. In their beginnings and in the laying of their foundations. You know what it means? Be cautious. That's it. This is a time for people to be cautious, to think, and there are new foundations being laid, and people have to be very careful on how they lay them and what new foundations they get behind, because they will create the buildings that later either have a strong foundation, or the structures, or the whatever it is, that have either a strong foundation or they topple. And that's the message. So it's not a time for big moves. It's not a time socially for big accomplishments. It's a time for little things, because there's extraordinary circumstances and caution is needed. We could have summed that up early on. Yes, but then you wouldn't have had your camera time. I'm Clyde Monster, and this has been another I Ching reading with me and my pal Lucky. Thanks for giving me second billing at least. I will be back this week with a new call-in psychic medium radio show. So please, you didn't. I did. You got someone. Yes. I'm a celebrity now. Deal with it. And I'm Lucky Links, and wishing you guys success, good fortune. Be cautious out there, and remember, it's not a time for big moves.